So, alright. So far, I'm suspecting, oh my goodness, they fell on top of each other. Well, I mean, what this would suggest, yeah, is the only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously. Miles Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they are finished talking. What are you talking about? I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. I don't want the Von Karma name. You can keep it. A competition? The person that figures out the truth first wins. So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name? Exactly. I don't care that you became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things come from your foolishly foolish mouth. Look at me. I'm like a 13-year-old kid. I'm full of gumption. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Can I take that as you accepting my challenge? Once again, whatever makes you happy. Ha! Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm gonna find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like the professional I am. Yeah, super professional with your riding crop. And, I mean, you didn't hear this from me, but that's a dress code violation, Fransizka. I can see you got gloves, but you don't have long sleeves. Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. I mean, what do you expect? She's like 13. Kid. Ha! Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid. I said kids, kid. How dare you call me a kid as well? Now, if you excuse me, I must finish watching my, SpongeBob on Nickelodeon. I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy, you're gonna watch over these two. Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir. Now, do what I say from now on, kids, okay? You'd better not get in our way, Scruffy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do. Is that a whip? It's too small to be a whip. Like, I don't think you can do much with that. That's like a riding rod. Eek! Then you, prosecutor boy. Called me prosecutor boy. Let's get the investigation started already. Alright? Great. Now even that detective is treating me like a child. Alright, it's time to get investigating. Get a move on, prosecutor boy. My name is Miles Edgeworth. And if you were to call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. What? And what would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? That's up to you now, isn't it? Really? Sounds good, pal. He's so naive. I'm gonna ruin this whole man's career and make sure he eats nothing but ramen forever. Begin investigation! Woo! Detective Bad, hey, I have a word with you. What is it? It appears that both a knife and a gun were used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does. That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? The gun was inside of Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the Codobian embassy staff member. But I never heard anything about the knife. That looks like it's hand-carved handle. Mr. Rell was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Mr. Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well. Could it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? But then, why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if... It's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence. He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it. Huh. Maybe you've got a brain in there after all, kid. Nah. You gonna treat me like a child forever? I mean, I've never seen this man after this, so maybe he doesn't live to treat you like a kid after this. It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. I mean, that seems unlikely to me, because if you shoot someone, I don't think he would have time to counteract with a stab. And we know Mr. Rell had to die first, unless the bodies were disturbed, because Rell is underneath Faraday. Not yet. I feel that it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence, so as to ensure the honor of the Von Karma name. We don't need to work our lives for Von Karma. I'm gonna personally murder this old man. I'm sorry. My hatred for Von Karma is strong. The window is open, and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air. Ugh. The flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly. Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change? Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through the window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 3rd floor, unless they have a grappling hook. Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows? I don't believe that can stop someone. I feel there's a workaround. Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through the windows, right? They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice. I'm gonna find something they forgot. Fransizka, at such a young age, already being exposed to a brutal double homicide. Yep, good old locked room mystery, as you will. A classic in games such as Danganronpa, or Death by Rube Goldberg Machine, as we saw in Phantom Detective, which was honestly one of my favorite things. It looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rell. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However, using logic, The only logical conclusion is, haha! What was that outburst for? My detective's instinct just hit me really hard. It was Mr. Ralph that fell first, see? You don't need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. I mean, the first thing that interests me is this bag of blood. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. So it appears like some evidence may be missing. Since we see 4 bags. I know that much, detective. You sure are good at stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me. When it's this guy. Anyways, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the 2 men? Let's see. They're my family. Looks like Mr. Rell died with the knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. Then, he must have used this as a weapon. Yup, no doubt about it. Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? I should jot some notes down about it. I mean, it's a very unique looking knife. Wait, is there something on his other hand? Yeah. His hand is black down here, see? I wonder what it could be. If you look closely, the blotching pattern resembles an ink stain. Interesting, that's odd. Huh, an ink stain? Yeah, I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen. Like a snob. A feather pen? Yeah, I've seen one before. Sure you aren't making it up, pal? And let's take a look at the gun. It looks like Mr. Faraday died holding the gun in his right hand. So he shot Mr. Rell and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the knife? Or the gun? Yeah, I guess that does seem kinda strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun? Contradiction? What's the contradiction? Blooples. You're right, he's probably left-handed. But remember, folks, being left-handed doesn't always mean you shoot with your left hand if you're an experienced gun shooter. It's not exactly rocket science. Even I know how to pull the trigger, but in a game like this, it's definitely a contradiction. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one. Oh, yeah, you've sent me... I've seen it before. You showed me that after like one assignment you did and your hand was all full of pencil. I hope never to have to fire a gun either, pal. Bad news for Edgeworth. But it sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands. It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. So, I think I first need to make the conclusion that he's left-handed, though. Mr. Rell's cause of death was from being shot, correct? I think, because right now it's just a logic connection. So I probably need more evidence first that he's left-handed. That's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down. Death is bad enough, but it's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? I mean, I feel like death is worse than a cover-up. Yeah, I can't confirm Mr. Rell's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. But what's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are. I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it. She's so small. Labby? Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the scene, sir. And there you have it. Dots. Fire in return dots. Do you not approve? Of course not. What? Investigation of a crime scene is the work of the detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will ya? Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe, do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. And Gumshoe never learned that. And that's why Gumshoe is wonderful. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Gumshoe has a heart. Oh, whoa, he's got something in his pocket. Let's see. There's something in his pocket. It's a fountain pen. Okay, so maybe this is how we'll prove he's left-handed. Hey, you know, I always keep a pencil behind my ear. It's because Detective Bad is always telling me. You should always write your name on everything you own. Yes, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. Alright, so let's try to logic that he's a left-handed man. Beep. Left-handed. Woo! That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen. Oh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe? Yeah, I confirm that the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from his fountain pen. Yeah, I see. Good work. You know, I've always wanted to say that, even if it was just one time in my life. Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand. I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well. If you say so, pal. Alright. So, using that information will raise the contradiction. Wait. Where's my deduction? Mr. Faraday is holding a gun in his right hand. That's the one Mr. Rell got blown away by, right? Labby, your answer? Yes, sir. We found that the ballistics markings do match the gun. Oh, he needs our play. Hope you get a good rest. Thanks for stopping by. Ballistics markings are, the fingerprints of a gun. Are the figurative fingerprints a gun leaves on a bullet when they fire. Thank you, Ace Attorney. I will now never forget that. Every time. Every gun leaves its own unique ballistic markings. Therefore, by looking at the markings on a bullet, you can tell which gun it came from. Yeah, that's it. Of course I already knew all about that, pal. Maybe you'd be better going off back to the academy. Eek, come on, sir. Come be some slack, will ya? So the bullet that was fired from the gun is what felled Mr. Rell. Alright. Why can't I contradict things? Oh my goodness. This is gonna drive me wild. Let me see that gold chain. Drat. Can't see that gold chain. Alright, gonna check out the knife wound first. There's a knife wound in his chest here, see? I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Rell is holding. Hello, Abby. Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir. Make it quick. By the look of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. What's under your scarf, Faraday? Mr. Faraday. How ironic it is for him to lose his life in the courthouse. I mean, not really. This sort of stuff has happened before. Yeah. Sorry, I'm yawning so much right now. Why did it have to be this way? I don't know what to say. Can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal. Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing to investigate. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes? I mean, what? Did you think it was gonna be all Scooby-Doo? Gonna find a talking dog? Gonna stop some people trying to clear out an amusement park for some convoluted real estate crime? Yeah. Then get back to work. Find out the cause of his murder. Right. I'm on it, pal. You know, I guess you could say Mr. Faraday wasn't exactly having a fair day. But shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Thank you for backing up my badunch. It takes some guts to fire a gun in a courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week, and I still haven't fired a single round yet. There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean he wasn't shot at point-blank range. Which, so that's what I'm getting at. Is if there are no burn marks, then it doesn't seem possible that he could have been shot and then stabbed Faraday. A round grows very hot as it is discharged from a firearm. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when a shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. You sure know a bunch of neat stuff for your age, pal. Apparently, this detective has as much common evidence as your everyday marsupial. What a jerk! Don't compare him to a kangaroo. This isn't a kangaroo court. Let us now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife encounter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory in any case. That's your theory, Edgeworth, but your theory is a wrong theory. What a crazy way to go. Don't associate your theory with what I'm thinking happened. Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. Let me contradict stuff. I believe I'm yawning so much, I'm so sorry. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. I need like some coffee. Alright, can I now look and contradict stuff? Please. No, where are my contradictions? Where have they gone? I'm Ben? Someone's calling my dog. I'm but a shell of my former self without my contradictions. There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, which is pretty terrific, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance, which doesn't suggest a fight. Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle. Yeah, after all, I didn't hear anything from out in the hallway, you know. Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off. Yeah, I don't think they killed each other. I mean, like, obviously they didn't. We wouldn't be doing this if it was that straightforward. But I like, obviously someone's trying to make it look that way, which in my mind suggests almost you, because she's the only other person who I can connect to this case. So I'll let the old man's arms stick out, because I mean, she's a person, so she will have an arm. Perfect. No one will know the difference. And there we go. All set up. There are some stacked plastic bags on the table. I think this was how you spell it. Wait, I can actually check. Oh. Darn it! I misspelled it. Okay, let me fix this. Actually, no, it's staying. I will just have to admit to my mistakes. Yeah, that's right. I'm 21 and I don't know how to spell. Whoops. There's a tea set here, a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance. Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. Maybe they were. Oh wait, I already read this. Can I check out this bag? There's some stuff in that bag, pal. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him. This is the evidence? Nah, I'd better not touch it. I'll leave prints on it. Do you just not pay attention to anything you do? I mean, he's got a heart of gold, but his brain's made of rock. Alright. Hey Fransizka, how's it going? Someone's running water and it's very loud. Ah, I see! Your favorite character, trope? Big of heart, dumb of ass. Did you figure something out? This is a competition, Miles, and as such, I'd appreciate it if you didn't talk to me. I mean, it's classic trope. As you wish. Like, I just feel so funny because, like, Miles is, like, getting all annoyed that she's, like, acting like a child, but she's, like, 13. Like, she has to be 13, because I think she gets her prosecutor's badge when she's 14. Maybe younger. She might be younger than 13. Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case? Faraday and Rao. Looks like they killed each other to me. Yeah, though, there are a few things that just don't seem right. What would they be? Why don't you try thinking on your own first, before you bother me, boy? What? Now I've been downgraded to just boy? I'm just a boy now? I don't even have a BOI. It's a BOY. What a truly horrible time. Also, I'm gonna point this out because I don't know if anyone else would be willing to do it. But, like, I'm pretty sure these games are set in near modern times. So... No, wait, no, this would still be too early. I was gonna say that there was a 90% chance that Fransizka would have a TikTok account. But I might be wrong. She might be too early for that. But she would definitely have a Vine then. I already checked this out, but are they gonna let me look at contradictions? No, they hate me. Time to logic. So, neat and tidy table and plastic bags. Or what logic? There is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table. And yet, a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that they were the ones on the floor. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there? Another reason? I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow. They were placed there after death. Eek! Get that blood away from me, pal. Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on the bag? Hold on, let me ask the lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either. It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence. Okay, if you say so. I leave it in your hands, pal. Look at all our evidence. All the contradictions piling up. Alright. Will they now let me do contradictions? Pretty please. No! Why can't I contradiction? It feels so useless. Let me look at this TV. Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal. Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. I mean, he can't afford it, Edgeworth. Not everyone's rich. Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Wow. And way too noisy. You're the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. I guess there's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No, we have a ton of contradictions. We're just not letting me pursue them. No, we can't conclude that right quite yet. Let me contradict. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. I mean, since when have we ever had a straightforward case like that in an Ace Attorney game? In fact, there is actually a contradiction that shows there is another possibility. No way, pal. Really? I suppose I will just have to show you the conflict in this crime scene. Thank you. They're giving me the contradiction button. Ew. Yes. Look at my fountain pen. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed. And yet, the handgun is in his right hand. Rookie mistake in a mystery game. But don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kinda strange. But how could something like that happen? The facts add up to one conclusion, and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else. They're gonna then suggest that Mackerel did it, but it's not gonna be Mackerel. A plastic bag scattered on the ground, scattered on the floor, and a gun in the wrong hand. I sensed the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of vile intent is serious about keeping the truth from us. Oh yeah, complete. Perfect. We're through that portion. Here's the autopsy report. So, Blueballs, do you think it's also you, or do you have a different suspect in mind? It is probable that Mr. Bell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. Going with the wind? That's fair. I need coffee or something. Honestly, I'm yawning up a storm. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course. The incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. Oh, Fransizka, I don't want to do this to you. The prosecutor went into a rage from being recused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There is absolutely no margin for doubt. And do you really believe that to be the truth? Ha! And are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true? No, Fransizka, I'm so sorry, but I have evidence. Yeah. It's alright. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will.